And good afternoon, everyone. This is Kilo Charlie 9, Victor Kilo Victor. My name is Jim, and this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. This is a directed network, and I'm net control. If at any time during this net should an emergency arise, please notify net control, and we'll stand by and allow those in need to access this frequency. Is there any priority or emergency traffic at this time? And hearing nothing, we will continue. This net is all about ham radio and being all that you can be. That's what our Qso-Vlog network is all about, trying to help people achieve the best sounding station possible. Thanks for dropping by. FYI, my background is 50 years in commercial broadcasting, where a lot of big bucks are spent on audio processing equipment and getting it set up correctly to get the best sounding station possible. Well, long story short, when I became a ham radio operator, I could hear immediately a large discrepancy in on-air technical proficiency. A lot of stations were running with very poor mic equalization, very muddy, with little articulation. And as I continued to work stations, I realized most of the stations were also running very low average peak modulation, many around 30% of average peak modulation. So with my background, I felt I could help, or at least try. I knew that most modern-day ham transceivers did have enough onboard processing equipment to be able to overcome most all of the problems. So it would just be a matter of developing a generic dynamic range setup procedure and then adjusting the onboard EQ gear. And so I started the Qso-Vlog network with the phrase, if you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout. And today we're currently featuring over 3,200 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And you can access these recordings by going to YouTube and doing a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word logbook. And we also have a newer series called KC9VKV Highlights. That's Kilo Charlie 9 Victor Kilo Victor, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. These are some of our less technical and more human nature philosophical kinds of QSOs. That's KC9VKV, followed by the word highlights on a YouTube search. Both KC9VKV Logbook and KC9VKV Highlights are segments of our main YouTube homepage of Jim's Radio Story, where we celebrate a 50-year journey from a 5-watt pirate radio station as a 12-year-old to production director of a major 50,000-watt AM broadcast facility. And the thing that makes this truly a unique story is that I have all the actual masters from all along the way. Over 2,600 shows, including many full-length major music concerts and radio documentaries. You'll have to check it out and subscribe. Jim's Radio Story on a YouTube search. Our mission statement for the Qso-Vlog network is to establish a higher technical level of radio transmissions of the human voice by the intelligent utilization of available electronics in current amateur radio transceivers. Our setup, while generic in nature, converts the average 10 dB dynamic range transmitter with an average 30% of peak modulation to a much fuller 3 dB dynamic range with an average 80 to 85% of peak modulation. This substantial boost in audio transmit level is extremely beneficial in high noise levels and heavy QRM. It allows you to punch through when others fail. The second part of our transmitter setup has to do with proper mic equalization. Again, why need to hear the voice if you can't understand the words? Also this afternoon on the receive side, we're running 5 Internet SDR receivers, monitoring New York, Pennsylvania, Georgia, and Virginia specifically. And in addition, we're running our newer number 5 Hocus Pocus Internet SDR receiver, loaded with 50 additional pre-programmed Internet SDR locations spread out over 20 states across the eastern half of the United States, trying to get the best copy from our 100-watt friends. Now, the audio from these 5 SDR receivers comes up on a 6-position rotary selector. Also on this selector is our local receiver audio. And today, our local receiver is running 3 large 10-foot vertical magnetic loop antennas, one aimed at 0 degrees, one aimed at 90 degrees, and the number 3 is aimed at 134 degrees. These are run as a directional scanner array with a manual voting system 6-position rotary selector. Also today on the transmit side, we'll be running our no SWR specially oriented resonant tuned dipole antenna. One leg of this resonant tuned dipole antenna runs broadside to Montreal, Canada. The other leg runs broadside to Miami, Florida. As we were constructing our station, our mantra was 20 over from Montreal to Miami with a hotspot through the Carolinas. And although conditions may vary, the general performance of this antenna supports its mission. Also today we'll be running our input source indicator, so when we switch from an Internet SDR receiver to our local receiver, you'll be able to hear the switch and see the switch. You'll have to check it out on our YouTube Qso-Vlog video. And as we come together for another Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network, let us pause just a moment for the amateur radio operator's prayer. Lord, we pray for clear 20 over S9 communications today. Let all our transmissions fill the air and reach their destinations QSA5 to be understood by all. And as we pray for good radio conditions, let us also pray for good human conditions. During this time of pandemic that has challenged us all, we pray that you'll protect everyone, especially our elderly. And also, Lord, we seek your divine intervention to bring peace to a very divided United States. As we go through a very conflicting time in America's history, with dark clouds all around, we pray that you'll reduce life's daily political QRM between our brothers and sisters, and through your love and guidance, show us the way to find peace and harmony. Help us to communicate with one another 20 over S9. Thank you, Lord, and God bless and protect America. Amen. To continue, since this part of the band has many nets trying to operate in a very confined area, I would appreciate all stations checking into our Qso-Vlog net to keep their band pass to no wider than 100 to 2900. And again, please, no wider than 100 to 2900. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network. And now, with all that being said, let's open it up and see who's out there. If you have a radio you want to check out, give us a shout.
November 8, Sierra, Bravo, Echo, Dave in Michigan.
Roger. Was that Steve in Michigan?
Was that Steve in Michigan? I'm sorry, Dave. Delta, Alpha, Victor, Echo.
Let's go with the call letter first. Give me the call letter slowly, phonetically, please.
Give me the call letter slowly, phonetically, please. November 8, Sierra, Bravo, Echo, NASBE.
Roger, SBE, and the name, please.
Roger, SBE, and the name, please. Delta, Alpha, Victor, Echo.
I'm copying Dave, is that correct?
I'm copying Dave, is that correct? Roger.
Roger, Dave, and what's the location?
Roger, Dave, and what's the location? We're in Ann Arbor, Michigan. That's southeast Michigan, about 45 miles west of Detroit. Go ahead.
Roger. And Dave, what radio are you running today, sir?
Dave, what radio are you running today, sir? I'm running an Elecraft K4D, as in Delta, and I have a KP8500 amplifier hooked to it.
Oh, Roger, Roger. Okay, let's see if I can get a better copy on you. Why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and I'll look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Find a better path for us, Roger. Roger, Roger, Roger. This is NASVE. The antenna system, but it's in an KW dipole, but it's in an inverted V configuration. And actually, since we lost a large tree in our front yard, it's no longer even in a straight line. The two legs are pointing southwest and southeast. So it kind of tends to favor the south, I think. And the apex is up only about 35 feet, so probably a relatively high angle of radiation. Go ahead.
Roger that. Well, I got you pretty good on the Kentucky, my Kentucky SDR. I've got you probably about 10 over on the Kentucky SDR. And about your radio, the first thing would be to make sure that if that radio is capable of 100 to 2900 on the transmit bandwidth, we should try to make sure that it's in that bandwidth. Roger?
To make sure that it's in that bandwidth. Roger? Yeah, Roger, Roger. It is set right now to a bandwidth of 2.8 kilohertz, and if I look at the high and the low settings, it's the, let's see, the high is at 2.9, and the low is at 100. Yeah, all right. The low is at 100 and the high is at 2.9 right now. Go ahead.
Oh, excellent, excellent. That will let your transmitter operate at its best capabilities, and then give you just a slice of daylight before you wind up into somebody else's conversation. So that's why we suggest that bandwidth 100 to 2900. So once past that, then we're looking for the compressor processor on, and at a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, you would just want a third of that compression on. Roger? That compression on. Roger?
Actually, this transmitter has compressed enhanced single sideband, and so I have it set to 30, which is cranked all the way up 100%, and that is what is recommended by Aircheck.
Oh, Roger. Well, the main thing is we don't want it sucking up between words. That does not do anybody any good when you have a bunch of suck up between words. And what we're looking for is, something that's working directly on the word. I often say that a 3 is the same thing as a 6 without the suck up, as far as something actually working on the word. So why don't you do this for me? Why don't you key up for about 4 seconds? Don't say anything, just key up for about 4 seconds, and I'll take a look and see how it's expanding. Roger?
Look and see how it's expanding. Roger? Roger, Roger. Here's the silence. Over.
Yes, sir. I didn't see it expanding very much, so that's great. That's a nice check, just to, and you can do that same check if you have an output meter, watt meter, power meter, whatever. Just do a dead key and see what kind of signal comes up on a dead key. It should not be very much. Some of them, if they're running a bunch of compression, it'll suck that RF signal on up there to about 100%, which is definitely what we want. But like I say, you can make a test yourself and just dead key it and see where it goes, and then turn your compressor down or whatever to you try to keep it down there about maybe maximum would be somewhere around 10% of that signal. Not very much, not very high. Okay, so once we get all that worked out, then we move to the ALC with mic gain in hand. And as you say the secret word, audio, you become a human test generator and adjust your mic gain until your ALC is running a 7 or 2/3, 7 or 2/3, depending on which one comes first.
7 or 2/3, depending on which one comes first.
All right, this is November 8th, Sierra Bravo Echo, audio, and I do believe that this microphone is not as sensitive as the Heil that I was using, so I think I need to turn the audio gain up a little bit. It's only kicking up about 1/3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And that's the thing. Anytime that you change your microphone, be sure and go to your ALC and do that test, audio, and adjust your mic to where, you're running 2/3, and that will take care of it, because there's, no two microphones are the same as far as output levels necessarily, and so you want to be sure that you're running at maximum capability when you switch mics. So go ahead and do your test again and make that mic run at 2/3 on your ALC meter.
At 2/3 on your ALC meter.
All right, this is N8SBE testing. Audio. Okay, I just turned the mic gain up from 20 to 25, and I think that put it in about the right position. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. It's looking good. Now let's go to your equalization. Do you know how to get to your equalization page?
Do you know how to get to your equalization page?
Yep, I have it up here. This is an 8-band equalizer in octaves. It goes 100, 200, 400, 800, 1200, 1600, 2400, 3200. And I actually have it set the way we did for the HT4, which I think is going to have to be changed. People have told me that this mic sounds a good deal more bassy. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. So the first thing would be then, let's work on that high treble frequency. The ideal treble boost frequency is 2.7 kilohertz. So unfortunately, you do not have that specific frequency to boost, but we can do something around that 32 and that 24 or whatever it is. About what's your frequency just above 2.7?
2.7.
Yeah, I do have a 2400 and a 3200, and they're currently set at +4 for the 2400 and +2 for the 3200, and that's what I was using with the HT4, which has a rising element in that HT4. So this new headset is a KOS SB40, and I don't believe it has as high treble in it as the Heil mic did. Go ahead.
Roger. So let's add 3 clicks additional EQ push on that 3.2, I guess, if I remember correctly. An additional 3 clicks boost on the 3.2, and maybe a 2 boost on the 2.4. A 2 boost on the 2.4. Roger?
4. A 2 boost on the 2.4. Roger?
Okay, Roger. That's what I've done. And now the 2.4 is at +6, and the 3200 is at +5. This is N8SBE. Audio.
Roger. Now, what we want also is everything in the flat or off position from 400 cycles to 1.4. Everything in the flat position or off on that equalizer from 400 to 1.4. Roger?
To 1.4. Roger?
Roger. Right now, everything is flat from 200 to 1.6. And so I get the notion that we're going to be headed towards knocking that 200 down. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Go ahead and knock that 200 minus 4. 4 clicks roll off on the 200. Roger, Roger.
Off on the 200. Roger, Roger.
Okay, we're at minus 4 on 200. And by the way, I have 100 on here as well. This is already set to minus 16, as low as it can go. Go ahead.
Roger, and do you have anything lower than 100? Do you have something around 50 cycles?
Lower than 100? Do you have something around 50 cycles?
No, you know, the Elecraft K3S has a 50 hertz on it, but in the K4D, it has a sharp roll-off below 100 hertz. As a matter of fact, I don't think you can change that. You can make it higher. You can make it a 200 hertz roll-off, but by default, this transmitter rolls off very heavily at 100 hertz. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Roger. Well, I think we're in pretty good shape. I was just thinking of anything else that we need to do. It sounds pretty good. That roll-off on the lower frequency really keeps the mud down quite a bit. So I think you'll agree that this is the best setting for it when you get a chance to listen to it. Of course, we are recording, and we'll be laying this up to YouTube by noon tomorrow. And if you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. That will take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,200 Qso-Vlog Aircheck recordings. And again, I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Check recordings. And again, I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. Roger?
Roger, Roger. Thank you very much, Jim. I really appreciate this. I had tried watching myself on some SDR waterfalls, remote SDR waterfalls, but it seems that a number of them have a get rid of. I think 100 hertz that I couldn't seem to get rid of. The feature of the TV SDRs. So I really appreciate you taking a look at this and helping me out. I will be running an 80-meter net on Sunday evening, and I've got a number of folks on there that will very critically tell me whether or not I've got this set up the way they think it should sound, because they have been listening to me for many years on the HC4 headset. Go ahead.
Roger that, roger that. Well, it'd be interesting to hear the feedback. Always interesting to hear feedback, and I also have a realization that most SDRs are rolling out at about 200 cycles, so you don't really get the absolute best picture on the SDR. You get relatively close, but you're not hearing exactly the lower end that there is. That's why I usually hope that I can get somebody on my 7300, which is good down to 100 cycles. And my monitor system has a subwoofer, so I'm good down to about 40 cycles on my monitor system, Roger.
Down to about 40 cycles on my monitor system, Roger.
Yeah, very good. Yeah, I've seen your, like I said, 2 years ago, you helped me with my K3S with my HC4 headset, and it really worked out very well. I really appreciate that, and I have watched that YouTube video, and I have also watched a more recent one that you sent out last week by going to your logbook and playing the most recent one there as well. And I was watching very carefully that audio spectrum that you have up there on the wall. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's very interesting. And I've often wondered, and I'm thinking that, if I were to listen to a signal that there was no signal, just IF noise, incoming signal without actually a station being there, then I should have, theoretically, that spectrum analyzer should be fairly flat across the the band, because that would be, linearity as far as the audio spectrum in that slice of life. I haven't proved that exactly, and I'm sure there should be, or probably would be some variances. But theoretically, if you were to just listen with a spectrum analyzer to a slice of life without nothing being there, and consider everything else being flat, that spectrum analyzer should be flat on that piece of audio, that piece of RF that you're listening to, Roger.
That piece of RF that you're listening to, Roger.
Yes, for sure, Jim. And I understand that. As a matter of fact, I was just thinking an interesting thing to do would be to find someone who's like transmitting via HF at their wide bandwidth, which runs about 2.7 kilohertz, because those signals in that entire bandwidth should be all of equal amplitude. And in those cases, too, the transmitters are usually at a data mode where the equalizers and compression and everything is turned off. So you should see a very flat output. It would be interesting to see that on an SDR, like one of these TV SDRs, to see if they're actually giving us a flat output. Go ahead.
Yeah, well, I know for sure that the SDRs are not flat. They are roll off on the bottom side at about 200 cycles, and I've noticed that for sure. Up against the, I've got a rotary position, 6-position rotary switch that I've got 5 internet receivers on the 5 positions on the 6th position, and then I've got the 6th position, which is my 7300 audio. And I can take a signal if I've got a fairly decent signal on all 5 SDRs of the same, like maybe somebody's running a KW, and they're fairly well occupying the frequency and doing well in all my different locations. I can hear a definite difference when I hit to my local antenna, and my 7300 is much stronger on the bottom end, much fuller on the bottom end. So I can tell that most of these SDRs are rolling off on the bottom side. Roger?
Most of these SDRs are rolling off on the bottom side. Roger?
Yeah, what I was seeing, though, looks like we have a peak in the lower mid-range, around about 300 or 400 hertz. And I see that on my signal. I've seen that on your signal here. I was watching you on a Virginia or Pennsylvania SDR that I have up at the moment, and I was seeing the same thing on both yours and my signal. But when I watch your signal on my K4D waterfall here, I don't see that. I don't see that peak like that. Instead, it looks very nice. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, trust your local your local setup over the SDR as far as the lower frequencies are concerned. Roger.
The SDR as far as the lower frequencies are concerned. Roger.
Roger. I can see that for sure because I use this radio very consistently for wideband via HF and other digital modes, and have no problems with it. It's very flat. The receiver is quite flat. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I love the thing about my 7300. It would be the receive frequency response. I'm not running any kind of noise reduction. I'm trying to get a very true picture of everybody's signal, so I don't run any noise reduction. I don't run, any... what is that, peak pulse attenuation, noise filtering that way. And I'm running a very, very low RF front end, so it's very far from any kind of overload or front end compression, so it doesn't suck up at all between the words by and large. It's just a pleasure when I can copy somebody on my 7300. Roger, Roger.
Pleasure when I can copy somebody on my 7300. Roger, Roger.
Oh, yeah. 7300 is a very nice transceiver. We, unfortunately, we're not able to use them in field day because the front ends are very easily overloaded by nearby signals. And so we have been running an all-aircraft field day these many years with K3s and now some K4s as well. And they're essentially bulletproof front ends. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, everybody, I'm not, like I say, I've got my RF turned way down in the front end, so it's not even showing up as any kind of a residual signal until a signal comes in, and then it starts to show activity there. But anyway, so that's the way we've run this one, and it works out just fine. So I think we got it there, Dave. And hopefully you'll be able to check it out, and maybe get back with me next Friday and let me know what you think.
Maybe get back with me next Friday and let me know what you think.
All right, well, great. Thank you very much, Jim. And I will certainly listen to the YouTube video when it comes out, and I should be able to compare that against the one that was recorded a couple of years ago, and we'll see how different that sounds, or how close it sounds, one way or the other. I had this headset recommended to me by another K4 user, and so based on that, I ordered it. And it's a good deal less expensive than a Heil headset, but I really don't know how well it's going to hold up. The Heil headset is about 12 years old, and the mic wiring in it started to go bad. I've also been told, though, that I can send the headset off to Heil, and for about $40 they will repair it for me, and so I may still do that, so that I'll end up with a spare headset here. Go ahead.
Roger. So you are running that headset right now?
Roger. So you are running that headset right now?
I'm running the KOS headset, the new headset, the SB40.
Yes, sir. So what we want to be sure and do is make sure that mic is straight out in front of you as far as you can go, and then at the last minute make your 90-degree turn. We want it out in front of you as far as you can go, and then like I say, at the last minute make your 90. Roger.
Like I say, at the last minute make your 90. Roger.
Roger. And I do tend to put it just a little bit below my mouth, so that I'm not, I'm not talking directly into it. Now, the KOS did not come with a pop filter, so I took the pop filter from my Heil and put it on this mic. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Excellent. It's just amazing how those foam windscreens work as far as dispersing transient mouth noises and plosives and stuff. It's just that's one of the greatest filters in the world as far as getting rid of junk and just leaving the words. Roger?
In the world as far as getting rid of junk and just leaving the words. Roger?
Oh, yeah, I'm a great believer in those. The one on the Heil that I had on there for so many years has finally worn out. I ended up having to buy replacements, but I'm a great believer in those pop filters. Go ahead.
Oh, yes, sir. I've run this one. I probably should change it, but I've been running this one for, I guess, about 5 years. Might be a little crusty, I don't know, but it still is doing an okay job. So I'll probably put a red one on next time, Roger.
I'll probably put a red one on next time, Roger.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm just a basic black guy. I guess whenever I order up something like this, it never occurs to me to order up any other color than black.
Yes, sir. Well, I got, I keep, my Elmer, I keep telling him, I'm going to get him that foam windscreen and in his color choice, and haven't made contact to be able to do that. But yeah, they're just great. And I was going to mention, what was that? I forget right now, but it had something to do with when you're watching your signal on your meter, feels your spectrum analyzer, that you can see that display. And I was also thinking about, there's a difference in tonality when you say the word audio. The O is a lower frequency. And I was theorizing, if you were to set EQ by a word, you could compare the audio level between the and the O as far as a direction of possibility as far as what the curve may be, one being hotter than the other, and then EQing up a little bit just to make them the same. That's all theory, though. I haven't really had a chance to pursue that much.
All theory, though. I haven't really had a chance to pursue that much.
Oh, that's an interesting idea. I'll certainly spend a little bit of time playing with it here, but at the moment, at least the changes that we've made here, I think it will probably do me okay, and we'll kind of go from there. Anyway, Jim, I should let you go so you can essentially help out other people this afternoon on the band. But again, thank you so much for doing this. It's a great public service, frankly. KC9VKV, N8SBE.
Roger, Dave. Good enough, sir. Thank you very much for dropping by, and you have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. 73, sir. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
3PJ.
I heard somebody back in their station calling. Come back one more time with a call sign.
There's somebody back in their station calling. Come back one more time with a call sign.
November 3, Quebec, Juliet, in 3PJ.
Okay, Juliet Station, why don't you give me about 10 seconds and tell me about your antenna system, and let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
And let me look around and see if I can find a better path for us, Roger.
Roger.
Station J, gosh, I went around the horn, and my best copy is down in Georgia, and that's only about half a dB over my over their SDR noise level. So I don't know if we're going to be able to do much. Do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Do you have a pretty good copy on me?
Okay, let's try your call sign one more time, very slowly. Come up on that mic, come on, and give me that call sign very slowly, Roger, phonetically.
And give me that call sign very slowly, Roger, phonetically.
November 3, Quebec, Juliet.
Roger, November 3, Quebec, Juliet, and what's the name?
Roger, November 3, Quebec, Juliet, and what's the name?
Juliet, India, Mike,
Roger, Jimmy, and what's your location, sir?
Roger, Jimmy, and what's your location, sir?
We're located in Bristol, Tennessee.
Roger that. And what radio are you running, Jimmy?
Roger that. And what radio are you running, Jimmy?
ST-1200, is that a Roger?
ST-1200, is that a Roger?
All right, I wish I had a better copy, but if you can hear me, we can run through some things, and if you're interested in getting that radio maybe sounding a little bit better, the first thing is to be sure that you're in that wide 100 to 2900 transmit bandwidth, TBW 100 to 2900, roger.
TBW 100 to 2900, roger.
Roger, I am setting the 100 to 2900 bandwidth.
Excellent, excellent. Then to your compressor processor, and we're only looking for a third of it, would be a 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, roger.
Yeah, 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100, roger.
Is that a roger? You're in that mode, 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100? Is that a roger?
You're in that mode, 3 out of 10 or 30 out of 100. Is that a roger?
Okay, I have lost you just a little bit. Come up on that mic and again, let me know where you are there.
Mike, and again, let me know where you are there.
Yes, currently set at 30%, 30%, 30%.
Oh, excellent. Out of 3 out of 100, is that a roger?
Out of 3 out of 100, is that a roger?
Roger, roger.
Okay, so then into your ALC and with mic gain, and as you say the magic word audio, adjust your mic gain until your ALC meter is running 2/3 or 7, depending on what you have there, 7 or 2/3. Anyway, we want to be to the right side of center, roger?
Or 2/3. Anyway, we want to be to the right side of center, roger?
Roger, roger. Set it right at 2/3.
And again, you would say that word audio just in normal tone speech, just like you would say any other word in a QSO. Don't stress it, just say it, roger?
Just like you would say any other word in a QSO, don't stress it, just say it, roger?
Roger, roger.
Okay, and that's probably about as far as we can go because I don't have a good enough copy on you. Well, gosh, let's look around again. Tell me about the best thing you like about your radio, and I'll look one more time and see if I've got something hotter than where I am, roger?
I'll look one more time and see if I've got something hotter than where I am, roger?
Roger, roger, yeah. But I've got the currently using the 75-meter dipole amp a little over 500 watts into those with the ALAC amplifier to an ATR-20 antenna tuner.
Roger, Jimmy, you say you're running an amp. You're running, what, about 800 watts, 500 watts?
An amp, you're running, what, about 800 watts, 500 watts?
Roger, the band really is dead. I mean, as far as propagation, because I should have a very good signal on you. Let's see, you're down in Tennessee, and with that kind of power, I should have a very good copy on you on my local antenna. What kind of antenna are you running there, Jimmy?
On you on my local antenna. What kind of antenna are you running there, Jimmy?
Okay, that's about 600 watts right now. It's a antenna made from two 75-meter ham sticks up about 40 feet.
Oh, roger that. Well, gosh, if you had the desire to experiment a little bit, I would suggest maybe a resonant-tuned dipole antenna. I think that is one of the most efficient antennas going. Other people have other opinions, but that's what we're running here, a resonant-tuned dipole antenna. And we're straight out of the SV220 right into the antenna, no antenna tuner, and I have to just think that it is very efficient that way. And so if you might have the property and the time and the inclination to put yourself up a resonant-tuned dipole antenna. Along with keep the antenna that you've got and get yourself at least a 2-position switch, maybe a 6-position rotary switch, whatever, so you can keep the old antenna and compare it with the new antenna if you were to put yourself up a resonant tuned dipole antenna and get that SWR down to almost nothing, and then compare those two antennas. Good to have options in general as far as transmit, because usually if a signal comes up to you in receive, it'll also come up to the party you're listening to in transmit. It's funny how that works, but if switching between those two antennas, the hotter one will usually give you the best transmission to be received by the other party. Roger?
To be received by the other party. Roger?
Roger, Jimmy. Well, I can't get into the your equalizer situation because I just don't have a good enough copy on you to really tell what's going on. There's so much noise that my meter is just showing more noise than it is audio as far as that's concerned, and I can't hear with that much noise exactly where we are equalization wise. So, but maybe next Friday, if we have a little bit better propagation, and I usually do have pretty good propagation coming up from Tennessee, so maybe we'll be able to do something better, and I can hear your transmitter as far as equalization is concerned. Roger?
Your transmitter as far as equalization is concerned. Roger?
Roger, Jimmy. Well, 73 down that way, sir. And like I say, maybe we'll be doing better propagation-wise next Friday. And we'll have this recording of our conversation uploaded to YouTube by noon tomorrow, so you can kind of hear what I'm up against there. And I'll have it uploaded by noon tomorrow. If you go to YouTube, do a call letter search for KC9VKV, followed by the word logbook. It'll take you to this recording. It'll be cut number 1 in a series of 3,200. And like I say, I'll have it by noon tomorrow. So 73 there, Jimmy, and you have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. Roger?
Jimmy, and you have a great afternoon and a beautiful weekend. Roger?
Roger. All right, this is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Alrighty, I am listening on my Georgia SDR, so if you're down around Florida, Georgia, Tennessee, Alabama, around through there, I am listening in that area, so give me a shout if you want to check out your radio.
So give me a shout if you want to check out your radio.
Alrighty, now I'm up in Virginia. Nothing heard down around Georgia, so I'm up in Virginia. And this is KC9VKV, Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
And I do have my Milford PA SDR up. I've been in queue for Milford for some time, and now I have Milford out there, Milford, Pennsylvania. So again, if you are up in that area, give me a shout. This is KC9VKV listening.
Give me a shout. This is KC9VKV listening.
And I'm on my local antenna, which is around Kentucky, Indiana, around through there, and parts of Tennessee. So we are located just across the Ohio River from Louisville, Kentucky. That's our location. So if you're in that area, give me a shout. And now we're on our Kentucky SDR, which is located in Kentucky, just up around Cincinnati, Ohio. It's on the Kentucky side, right around Cincinnati, Ohio. This is KC9VKV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network.
KV and the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog network.
All right, we're getting close to calling it a day here. Doesn't seem to be much activity. We're up in New York now. We're up around New York. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout. And nothing heard gives us a chance to maybe recall one of our thrilling editions of RADIOLAND, this segment, Thinking Outside the Box. So from time to time, I mentioned the fact that the actual heart of one's Radio Shack is the audio monitoring system. It is the incoming half of your QSO or contest. It makes possible the voice of your friends or your contacts around the world. It is that critical necessity for making two-way communications possible. And let's face it, audio reality does not reside with a 1-inch speaker inside a very small box that is your transceiver. There's just not enough cubes. This is the major downfall of all HF transceivers. It is the number one major shortcoming filter of your HF receiver. You can't really talk about EQ curves or audio balance until you have an audio system that can truly reproduce the range of audio that's involved. So you need to think outside the small box, and the box I'm talking about is your transceiver. Get your audio out of that box and plug into reality. Plug into your speaker out with a nice full range house monitor system. You deserve to hear what's really going on. And I don't mean a pair of $15 computer speakers, which is probably better than what your speaker system is, but for under $60 at Walmart or so, you can get a nice full-range Logitech speaker system, and check out their Logitech speaker system with a subwoofer. You don't need a Bose, but you do need to get something that will reproduce the bottom end correctly down to at least 100 hertz or 50 hertz or so, and speaker systems with subwoofers can easily do that, and for under $60. Here you spend thousands of dollars for a really great radio. You deserve to get the most out of it. You know, since I've been evaluating radios very closely on the Qso-Vlog net, I've noticed more and more radios with much flatter, fatter audio curves on my spectrum analyzer. Transmit audio curves that do go down to 100 hertz or so. But a word of caution, if your transmit audio content does go down to 100 hertz, you must make sure that the rest of your audio curve, particularly the upper end, has plenty of content for balance. Otherwise, you'll sound very muddy. So step up your audio system, or drop by Walmart or so and pick up one of those Logitech $60 subwoofer speaker systems. You won't believe what a difference it makes to be able to hear what's really going on. And for under $60, the price is right. And so there you go. We're not being paid by Walmart, wherever, but they do have some pretty good deals on speaker systems with subwoofers. But wherever it is, if you have a speaker system with a subwoofer, your audio monitoring system, it will be good then down to 40 or 50 cycles, and that'll give you a nice preview of what's going on in reality. So there you go, listening outside the box. This is the Friday afternoon Qso-Vlog net. If you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Net, if you have a radio you want to check out, give me a shout.
Well, we've been around the horn 2 or 3 times and haven't heard anything, so looks like this afternoon is fairly light. Not anything going on, so gosh, I think we're going to go fishing. Sounds like the thing to do. When nothing comes around, then we just go fishing. So we'll say, we'll be returning this frequency back to normal amateur radio use. This is KC9VKV clear.